epiphanies. Smooth operator and bringing haters to misery. Top 5 list ain't shit unless you mention me. Yeah, that's why we don't associate. Fuck niggas make them more fuck niggas. Why they procreate? Why they overhate? Cause they time is short and a moment late. Let it culminate to they harder race and it palpitate. Cowards perpetrate like they little group is respectable. Talking intellectual, all of you homosexuals, faggots.
There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
I don't want to congregate. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to fellowship. I ain't trying to build with you. Ain't the UPK, ain't the truth. Keep it real with you. Defenders of the faith, I got no problem bumping heads with you. All that bullshit, you can take it over there with you. Rather be a houseboy. Rather run with them field niggas. Show them to put in work. Move mountain, crush hills, nigga. Take a dead soul. Breathe life and make it live, nigga. No affiliation, so there's no one to compare with us. Took the Lord's laws and just added it with fear, nigga. Aim for the body, cause you know that killer hit quicker. With these bars, I'm on my grizzly, so
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the drawer for you. Come. Where?
Isupk Bmore with the Isupk School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West, on 25th Street, Harlem, New York, come out of there, That's technical difficulties, class will late today, lock for that. This is Wednesday night, beautiful law class. We're going to the Bible. We bring up the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High to show our people that the law, statutes, commandments are life to the blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. We need to realize that without this law, we are living a life of death. It's a night, we are being punished by the Most High. And how he punished us is through his angels and demons that's in the world that's on us. Try us. We got so-called pagan holiday, Halloween, Goons and Goblins, and everything. They seem like we're dressing up like ghosts, not realizing that our people are being attacked by evil spirits. And the Most High is putting us in this captivity to try us. We're going to bring some scripture to prove that demons are real. And we need to fight off these demons. We all have demons on us. We need to learn how to fight it. The only way you can fight a demon off is by going to the Isupk School of Universal Practical Knowledge and get your soul clean from these demons. The same way your house shot pull demons out of people, I ask you can't do the same. This is the only way you will be able to fight through scriptures. We need to learn that it is real. Otherwise, they make us believe that everything is a fairy tale. If they get the joy of their lives that they twist, come from the Bible, some truth in it. We're going to show you that demons is real. That's in the Bible. Let me get out, first of all, Root 4:1. You understand that, man? Only way we're going to fight off these demons is we come to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And give it to us in the Bible and keep it.
Right.
This is how you get a head of protection on you, people Most High. You work in this law, you're not protected by the Most High, he's not with you. And your kids, my kids are being punished because we are not under the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. You got that?
Come. Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1.
This is the book of the law. Salaki, this is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life. Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God.
The Bible is the book of the commandments of the Most High.
And the law that endureth forever.
Say what?
And the law that endureth forever.
So that kills your Christian church lies, saying that the laws are done away with. You understand that the Christian church is a straight line. They already don't find the Antichrist. We're still looking for the Antichrist to come, but they are the Antichrist.
Right.
Anything that don't follow the word of the Most High is an Antichrist. Any doctrine that's not exactly what the Most High put out there is an Antichrist.
Right.
That's why they go against everything the Bible says. You need to understand that that's not the place to be, man. You see that they go against the Bible, you should run from a Christian church or any religion, but God never gave us none of that. But it did give us the eyes to care about it to their harm.
Right.
This is the only truth, the only place you will find it. Read again.
Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life.
Life. All that keep the commandments of God will come to life. This is how you get life, man. Life is you see this out on the streets of people, man. They say everybody got to die. True that, we all die. But we can live a full, long life. I mean, if we keep the commandments of the Most High. Anyone read?
But such as leave it shall die. Plaza.
So when you live, you die, man. How you die? Because there are blessings and curses. When you keep the commandments, you are blessed. You get blessings from the Most High. But when you break the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, you get the curses. When you get the curses, this is how you live in life and death, man. You're constantly sick. Constantly going through hell that the Most High is putting you through his curses, right? We curse when we don't keep his law. So we gotta understand how to get blessings.
Right.
People think they're blessed because they got money, but you can't pick money with God. God ain't worried about how much money you got. You know what I'm saying? God ain't worried about, we think that if you got a big car and a big house, that God is with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, couple of dollars, you got all the money, and you can steal it. But we think it's because God is with you. You got to realize that Christ himself, man, he didn't own a house, he didn't own a car, he didn't have no money. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't worried about money. He had none of these things. He didn't have no house, no big car, no big plane. You know what I'm saying? He was a poor man. You know what I mean? Living in the ghetto. That's all.
So based off of this, saying if we leave the commandments, it say you shall die. But but such as leave it shall die. So can we conclude that if you follow the Christian church doctrine saying the law is done away with, that they're leading our people to death?
Yeah, that's exactly what that's why they are in the Christ. The whole Christian church as a religion in itself is the Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? We need to realize that when they say we're going to die a horrible way. You know what I'm saying? We're going to die the way that the Lord did not plan for us to go. We died from cancer, AIDS, and drug addiction, gun violence, police killing us, and all these things are cursing, you know what I mean? Because we disrespect the Most High with his law, statutes, commandments. You need to understand how to get a blessing and what a blessing is.
Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
You read all such commandments one more time. God is around. So many of our brothers and sisters are being destroyed in the streets because they're not in the truth. They're not in this action. You can't learn how to repent and stop sinning against the Most High. Jeremiah 17:9.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Verse 10. I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways.
You understand when the Bible is talking about the heart, it's talking about your mind. When you say, like we say, I know the alphabet by heart. You know what I'm saying? We know it with our mind. You know what I'm saying? We know everything with how it goes.
Right.
So really saying, most times let me know that when you speak of your heart, you speak of your mind. Read it again. When you don't search your heart, you search your mind. Your mind is what you think and you use to come up with what you're going to do about it.
Come.
This is what he's saying. Read it again.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 10. I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doings. Mark chapter 5, verse 1. Come.
We're going to break down. We're going to show you that demons are real, man. We're going to show you that demons be on us. And the only way to get rid of these demons is by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Doing exactly what he said. Other than that, we're going to be possessed by these demons.
Mark chapter 5, verse 1. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. Verse 2. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. An unclean spirit.
Man with an unclean spirit, meaning this man had a demon on him.
Verse 3. Who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him.
Man, they been in like graveyard. When you live in a graveyard around dead bodies, what are
A zombie. What you mean?
if you're in a graveyard, if you live in a graveyard, what are you?
Yeah. Well, you unclean. So like.
So we want to claim this is how these demons have get on you with ease. To the Most High with you. I mean, he's not with you when you want to. Go ahead.
And no man could bind him. No.
No man can save him. Go ahead.
Not with chains.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. Because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him.
Go ahead.
So it sounded like the brother had like, you know, he had a heavy demon on Wiz though.
Exactly, yeah.
No.
We can have more than one demon on us. We can have hundreds of demons on us. And thousands of demons on us. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones.
The demon had his brother so bad off that he was close to that damn near committing suicide. You know what I'm saying? But this is what a demon wants. When a demon is on you, his whole duty is to kill. Right. You know what I mean? That's his main object is to kill you. You know what I mean? He's going to get you to get close as he can to that, if not death. This is what the demon is planning to do to this brother. Right?
Verse 6. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him. Verse 7. And cried with a loud voice and said, What have to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not.
This man is being tormented. Right here, the demon is asking Christ, why are you tormenting me? The demon don't want it. The demon's job is not completed. I mean, the demon he asked him, why are you tormenting me? Why would the demon say that to him? Why would the demon say that to Christ?
Why would the demon say, why would you torment me?
Yeah.
But they know who Yahushua is, and they know that he can. They know the power of the Most High that he has with him. Just like when they was in the pigs, and they say our time is not yet.
So he tormented the demon because he getting ready to pull him out of that.
Come on. Verse 7. And cried with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with thee, Yahushua, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. Keep going. Verse 8. For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. Verse 9. And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many.
Yeah, many. What is a legion? How many is a legion, you know?
That's it.
How many is it?
Is it 12,000?
6,000.
6,000.
6,000 demons on this man. I mean, on this one man.
So like that's heavy too, because one of my slaveries I used to deal with the mental illness, mentally ill people, right? And like you see with schizophrenics, a lot of them be like, it seems like they be living in a whole nother world. And like what the brother was saying, like you say chains couldn't bind him. They be super strong. You see what I'm saying? It's like they always beseeching, like we need God to save us, and like that's what it sounded like when we reading this. You feel me?
Right.
And they be cutting themselves just like the brother was cut himself. You know?
That's when you see these brothers on the street, they getting high, they strung out, walk around, talk to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Can't get themselves together. When you see young men like that too, man, they be young and trying to panhandle. You know they can do better for themselves.
Come on.
When they're not, they just out the street and they brothers are possessed, man. You know what I mean?
Come on.
You ain't gotta wait till Halloween to come to see a demon.
Come on.
Demons are definitely real. They own us. But he own us as we in the truth. When we come to the truth, man, we fight stay straight with the Most High, means God set the commandments. But we gotta fight these demons off constantly. I mean, because they're on us. They try to pull us out. I mean, we have a sister, and she fight. She trying to leave our man. It's because of a demon. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
Demon, especially when a brother in Isupk has a wife. You know what I'm saying? For stupid reasons, no reason whatsoever should you want to leave a man. You break the commandments, but for any reason to use to try to get away from that man, because they would know that the same way Christ is cast these demons out, so can I Isupk.
Right.
So they don't want that sister around. So they make that sister actually hate you. You know what I'm saying? She think it's her, but it's a demon in her. You know what I mean?
Right.
She won't realize it until the demon complete his mission for her. If you don't kill her. You know what I'm saying? But she should stay with that brother. Because if you leave a brother in the truth, think you're gonna be better with a brother in the world. Sad mistake, you know what I'm saying? But in the world, this is lost to see it. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Verse 11. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. Verse 12. And all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter. And all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them.
So what is swine in the Bible?
Pigs.
And what are
It's unclean.
So go ahead.
Verse 13. And forthwith, Yahushua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea.
That whole job is to kill. The demons be honest, man. This scripture is so powerful that it lets you know that we need to actually we need to realize that these demons is real. And we have demons on us. We are God's chosen people. And we are destroyed for the lack of knowledge that we have. And we don't understand this Bible, man. I mean, we destroy it because we don't understand that it's demons on us. We think it's us that's making these decisions in us, man. There's a demon on you trying to destroy you. We all have the spirit of the Most High. That's why we are some of the best people in the world. Well, if we don't have these demons on us, we could be the best people in the world. That's why the Most High chose us. I mean, because of these demons, man, because of the lack of knowledge that we have, we don't know they own us.
It's like, and that's why it's so important for every brother and sister, man, to come to the UPK. Because if you go to the Christian church telling you that, you know, you ain't got to keep no commandments. You ain't got to do nothing that the Lord say, you feel me? So how they going to cast the demon off of you when the demon that's on them is heavier than the demon on you?
Right. The church is filled with demons, man. That's when they get on you, man. Majority of them. When you're in a room full of demons, you see, even they always want everybody to destroy it. You know what I'm saying? This is where you'll pick up mad demons when you go to the Christian church. Come to the Isupk, you get these classes, the demons will have to run. That's why they don't want you in here. They don't want you to listen to the truth. They don't want to hear you speak to the brothers or the sisters in the Isupk. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got some relationship that lasts 20 years, man, 15, 20 years. And the minute the brother gets in the Isupk, the relationship split.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the demons that's in the brothers and sisters. And the sisters don't want to be around the Isupk. They know that's Christ. rebellion leave the home within that person that they're in.
Right.
So they make it run, man. They make it run, man. That's why the player brought the lost wives in the school, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Truth hurt. Truth is gonna run them out. Just like Christ ran them demons into the pigs, man. That's how I should be capable of them demons out.
Right.
Every brother in the school, man, had demons run out of them, man. I had a demon come get the high demon, the weed demon, he ran out of me. I mean, the minute I got to the truth.
Right.
I mean, the drug dealer demon, the sleeping with the hole demon. I mean, all the demons I had run out. I'm saying, I'm hoping that I have no more in it, but I'm pretty sure I'm still fighting to the end. I mean, I had to do it to the end. That's what the Bible tells us. So we all gonna have something to fight on and to prove ourselves to one another. Because we did what we messed up with God. You know what I'm saying? So we constantly have to fight. So you gotta always know when most of the work. And this is the secret of working with you, man.
It's a heavy point you just brought up too, you feel me? Like, especially when you trying to walk the ways of the Most High, you feel me? You try to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. It seems like the people who was with you when you were doing evil, the people, the people who was with you when you was doing evil, when you try to change your life and try to do it the Most High way, they don't want no parts of you. And like you said, it's because that demon know that he ain't gonna have that access to you at that point, you know?
That demon, yeah, with him. I mean, he ain't trying to do this wrong, you know what I'm saying? So, my sister or brother not knowing what's going on, you know what I mean? They separate ourselves from it. You know what I'm saying? We lose bad friends and family members when we come to the truth. And that's the sad thing, because when you're out there breaking all kinds of law, causing all kinds of hell, you know what I'm saying? Sleeping with all kinds of whores and selling all the drugs in the world, everybody's best friend.
Right.
I mean, man, you clean yourself up. You trying to get yourself together, and that's not what to do. That's crazy. So they won't call you crazy now.
Right.
I mean, when you got to break the law,
Right.
going crazy, doing the wrong things, man. You the nigga. You the top man.
Right.
But it's better, especially the sister. You know what I mean? But sister actually tell me she wish she was an old Christian. I mean, I still don't know what that is. I mean, ain't Christian. I mean,
right.
Bob Cobb, Warrior Spirit, real. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Cut on cars, huh?
I mean, eventually, the Lord took it out of my life. I mean, that was a blessing. You gotta realize, man, these demons is on us, man. Y'all can kill us. And that's true. That's true, man. We need to appreciate this truth, man. Stick with it. And realize when demons on us, man, we need to cleave to the Most High. Now you do that, cleave to these scriptures, man. And cleave to class and everything the Most High set up for us to fight these demons off. This is how it should be kept. You know that?
Come on, son. Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man.
The unclean spirit is gone out of a man. This is the Bible, this is in red. This is Christ telling you that you know that demons are real and they are in us. I mean, these are the things that make us get high. These are the things that make us go against the Bible, man. The scripture that the Most High put in us, it's too hard to see. We fall because we got demons on us, man. Man, we selling drugs, man, to our own brothers and sisters, man. So you come up. That's a demon making you care about nobody but yourself. Okay? You'll kill another brother or sister just so you can come up and have a piece of paper in your pocket. You know, buy, trade, goods or a sickness. It's a demon making you don't care about nothing but yourself. Okay?
Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Verse 44. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out.
The demon don't leave, man. The demon was going to leave when you was a child. It's the same demon on you now. When you come to the truth, that demon is waiting for open to come back in to that body. So you thinking that you came to the truth, you stop getting high. You ain't got to worry about that. First chance you get, you're coming back. Ignorant of you looking weak, he's coming back to you. And he will try his best to destroy it. So we always got to keep our guards up. Police ourselves to know when the day will come. When it comes, the thoughts that he put in your mind, you got to know that it's the day of God. It will help you fight the fight of ridding you of that demon if you could notice when he talks to you. Let's get the scriptures. Now you get to the truth and come to class and understand the Most High love, statutes, and commandments. Knowing what the Most High wants from you. If your mind goes to you, knowing something that's unclean to the Most High, that's a demon on you. And your job then is to literally fight. Your best fight. Don't give in to that demon. Stay away from that. That's why we gotta watch what we listen to. What we listen to. We gotta watch what we look at. Eyes is what your ears to allow these things to come into your body. You gotta watch it. You gotta stay away from certain things, man. You get high. Don't go around the people that you around. You can't go around thinking that you could be around the hood, the same hood that you were getting high in. And you okay with it. Think you're not going to be enticed to go back to the way you was living in the world. That's going to make you do that. That's why you're around. That's why they made you go around there to try to help break you and to go back to what you were doing in the world. So you got to change the places and things and keep it that way. You know what I'm saying? Got to stay around godly people. That's what the Most High wants you to be. That's what the scriptures say. Surround yourself around godly people. You need to stay close and cleave to the Most High. Stay in class. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing in the world. You're going to actually get mad at you. And you don't go out no more. We don't do this. We don't do that. So all you do is stay in the house and study. Get mad at that. You study it. Stand strong, trying to stay strong in your scriptures. Cleave to the Most High. You're not in the streets but trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you can't go out and have a good time, but there's no reason for you to get mad at your husband because he in school all the time. He got the zeal that you're supposed to have for the Most High. Not get beef women or stuff like that, because they don't like the change that you made. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa, when sister doing that, come to class and my brother not. He don't appreciate that. He don't appreciate you want a sister to like other women. Double sniper. That's what it is. Ain't nothing but a day on us, man. It's what we say like that. We didn't say what's going on. That's that. We read.
Verse 44. Matthew chapter 12, verse 44. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept and garnished.
You come to the truth, man. I ask you to take, man. Your house is clean. This is what the truth is, man. These scriptures clean your body, man. Clean you from getting high. Ain't no more weed in there. You know what I mean? You come back, it was partying, holes, weed, you know what I'm saying, drugs. You know what I'm saying? Now they come back, that's the truth. It's clean in our house now, you know what I mean? And they don't appreciate that, man. His job was complete. You know what I'm saying? It's for atonement. This is how we gotta have our body, man. This is how we gotta have our mind. Gotta stay right with the Most High, clean to these scriptures. Law, statutes, commandments are a gift from the Most High to backslide niggas. This is life. This is how you get life. Without the law, statutes, commandments, you live in a life of curses. God says that in Luke 4:1.
Verse 45. Then goeth he and taketh him with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there.
You read this truth, man. You turn your back on Most High law, statutes, commandments. This is our daily road, man. You come to this truth, you stay strong in this truth, man. I mean, the minute you turn your back and go back to the world, that thing will want to go get 7 more. I mean, you couldn't handle it when you was by itself. But it's like, you couldn't handle it when you was by itself. Now you're going to get 7 more. How you think you're going to make it? You know what I'm saying? These are the things that happen to us, man, when we break these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. These are the curses, man. I mean, the only way you can avoid these curses is if you keep these laws, statutes, and commandments from Most High. So, you know what I'm saying, how to protect ourselves from a hard life. And when you protect yourself from a hard life, you gotta follow the scriptures, man. Talk to the voice of the Lord like God to observe and do all the commandments. You know what I'm saying? Look at,
Come on. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first, even. Worse than the first. Even so it shall be, even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. It's like Matthew 12 and 45. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation.
When you slip up and go back to the world and leave that truth, you know what I'm saying, that thing is there. You 7 more.
It's like, I like the reference, like, if you ever look at a person with addiction, like an addict or something like that, you will see like what they was doing before they came into treatment, right? And like they go into treatment and get clean. But as soon as they go back out and they get high again, with their numbers that they was doing, that they doing now, it far outweighs the numbers they was doing before they got clean. You feel me?
I haven't seen, but no brother, man. That's just truth, man. It was before the truth was, you know what I mean, doing one thing, and that's the truth, and end up doing double something that they thought it would never be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you coming to the truth, you gotta weed it. You know what I mean?
Come on.
You need the truth, man. That's when I have a crack day.
Come on, sir.
A dope day, you know what I mean? It's a sad thing that we don't realize what's going on, man. Because we don't pay attention to the scripture. These demons is out to kill us. So the devil, just like we read in the other scripture, the rock is going to one, but brother had a legion of demons on, man. 6,000 demons. And you look up the word legion, let you know it's 6,000 demons. I mean, so 6,000.
It's a lot. And also, it was 2,000 pigs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got
And they got into 2,000, so that clarified your 6,000 legion.
Yeah, definitely. So, you gotta realize, man, you don't know the number of demons that they can be on.
That's a good ass point.
You know what I'm saying? Probably don't even need but one to destroy your brother, you know what I mean? But you can have 6,000 or better on you.
Right.
You know, it's crazy, but you gotta realize, man, we gotta fight. And when you look at stuff like that, man, there's no better of a place than being an ISUP.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you can understand what's going on. Most high levels, man. That's why these law sets and commandments are given to us, man. They give us protection and know what's going on in the world. We know what's going on in the spiritual world because we study to show ourselves approved. You know what I mean? Once you do that, once you keep that commandment that the Most High told you to study to show yourself approved, you can see the demons that's coming at you. You know, you see when they're working. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's going against the Most High, that's a demon on you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You need to fight that in you. You know what I mean? So you can stand strong in that before you be destroyed. Okay. You know on that?
Loud, sir.
Second John.
Second John chapter 1, verse 9. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ.
Transgression means break. You never break. Go ahead.
And abideth not in the doctrine of Christ, hath not God.
I'm saying God is not with you when you break his law, man. This is why these demons don't attack, man. I mean, we waiting to attack the brother and sisters that don't understand the truth. You go to Christian church, man, you go into a house full of demons. Demons on everybody in that church, man, including the preacher. I mean, they are the Antichrist, man. Antichrist is anything that goes against the word of the Most High. Where you at?
Second John 1 and 9. Second half of it. Say he that abideth. He that abideth in the doctrine of Yahushua, he hath both the Father and the Son. Verse 10. If there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine.
And who do that? The Christian church, man. They come to you and bring not this doctrine, man. Most I say homosexuality is an abomination.
Right.
I mean, God said in the Bible that his laws is never done away with, man. The Christian church tell you that the laws are done away with. And it's okay for you to be homosexual. This is how you can know what's real and what's not, man. What's of God and what's not. I mean, these Christians, man, either they really admit that they love a lie. I mean, you got these old Christian man that call themselves preachers and deacons, whatever they is in this church, man. They know the law. They know that what they saying don't go with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But then they still stay. I mean, I got an uncle, man, that's a preacher, man. I mean, he still don't see the truth in the Bible, man. He still don't see it. I mean, he's still following the Christianity doctrines. I mean, he thinks it's okay. But yeah, when he's talking right, yeah, he's still in Christianity. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that that's the Antichrist. They're false prophets that the Bible speaks about. You know what I'm saying? Out of uncles and aunts, they literally like cut my brother off and speaking this truth. My brother, man, they literally just want to cut him out. ain't reading. That's why we destroy from that lack of knowledge. That's why the scripture say that, man. We destroy from that lack of knowledge. We love the God that the white man chose in Christianity and Islam and all these other religions that would never give it to us. You know what I'm saying? We come about that.
Right.
You got
Verse 10.
where you got?
2 John chapter 1, verse 10. If there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Hey, Salaki, so this means that you're not supposed to entertain the Jehovah's Witnesses.
You don't entertain none of that. God said that's right. So, right, so around God's people, man. I mean, never entertain a lie. They speak lies to you. You know, man. If anything, us, brothers and I should be capable. Just check.
Okay.
We know the scriptures. Never let them tell lies to us. Man.
Okay.
With the truth. You know what I'm saying? You guys know.
Now, I already say, you know, I do battle when they come to my house. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's good about them too.
It feel real good, and I can't wait. I'll be all excited when I see them all in my community. Like, yes.
No problem with the kicker out of it.
I do.
You know subscription. He was a Mark Wood. You know what I'm saying? Come to his house and like him. You know what I'm saying? That's one.
So like, so when a person say Godspeed, that's like I've heard it, but that's more of an older like saying, you see what I'm saying? Like we don't really use that. Well, I ain't never used that growing up, you see what I'm saying?
I pretty much think that Godspeed is
Like have a good one or have a good day or something like that.
I can tell you. I think I should be kids definitely in God's speed, though. We in his lane. We caught up with it. I look at it like that. The speed of the Most High is not the speed of the Christian church. They slow. I mean, they definitely slow catching on anything he's saying. If the word speed is in that sense. You know what I'm saying?
So, so I just looked it up to say Godspeed. It's a good fortune, success, used as a wish to a person starting on a journey, a new venture, so to speak. So like, you telling the person Godspeed is like you wishing them success in what they're doing. So it's saying don't tell them that. Don't wish them success in what they're doing.
Yeah, don't wish them, shalom. Don't wish them peace. I would. Ecclesiastes 2:5. These demons, most I let demons get on us around and try it, man. You know what I mean? Because we can't go into the kingdom being weak. So we have to have the strength that the Most High wants us to have before we enter the kingdom. So here on earth is why people need to realize that, man, we are in captivity, man. We're not here to have a good life, to party our life away, Instagram our life away, Facebook our life away. You know what I'm saying? We're here to prove to the Most High that we're willing to fight the good fight. You know what I'm saying? We're willing to stop making the mistakes that we made in past lives and sin against the Most High. We're here because of a punishment, man. We're here to prove ourselves. This is why these things are attacking on us, man. I mean, we're not here to just forget the law, statutes, and commandments. To the point when you forget God's law, God said he'll forget your children, man. If you forget these laws, your child is destroyed. You're not keeping the law, so your kids don't know the law. So they are definitely destroyed.
Come. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 5. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruit. Ecclesiasticus
2:5. You need to learn. Fear the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, man.
Right.
Man, you feel the Lord coming down on you with these curses. You know what I'm saying? That's wisdom. So you will keep his commandments, man. So you will have the blessings that the Most High want to give us. And his children, he want to bless us with his blessings. But only if we hearken to his voice and keep his commandments. Okay?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Same way gold is tried in the fire, so are God's chosen men.
Right.
We tried. This is why these demons are testing how strong we're going to be with the Most High, how loyal we're going to be to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So you got to realize, man, that when things happen, or old come back to your life, and you know the law now, even though you ain't know the law at first, you got to you know the law now. The minute something, an idea or a person or anything come to you trying to get you to go against the Most High, man, you should immediately, I mean, get rid of that. I mean, fight that. Don't accept nothing that ain't on the Most High. Not no right talking, not no friendship, nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, not no TV with a lot of brothers got a problem with the things that we watch, man. You know what I mean? Like strip clubs, porn, all types of wicked stuff that ain't out of the Most High. You know what I mean? Before you do it, man, you gotta think about it. You know what I'm saying? So the minute it comes in your mind, you need to realize it's fight time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's fight time, man. And pray if you feel like you won't. If you feel like you can't win. You know what I'm saying? Clean to the Most High. Jump and throw a study on, man. You know what I mean? The fact is fight, man. We done ran multiple demons out of us, man. And we can run them all out of us. This is what the Most High want to see. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
And that's why the brotherhood at ISUBK is so heavy, because if you feel like you're gonna fall to something, man, call your brother.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, call you. You know, we look out for each other. Like, it's a true brotherhood.
When something like that going down, you gotta learn how to talk. Close mouth on your face. So, I mean, we're scared to talk to a brother about your situation, man. He's talking to the Most High about it. I mean, that's why school urged us to get counseling, man. Because counseling is very well needed. This is how we fight. I mean, these elders that we talk to in our counseling, man, are close that we will ever see the Christ right now. I mean, if you talk to them, or to behind them, man, it's like to me, that's the closest thing to Christ I ever talked to in my life. I mean, so it will give you that right advice that you need, man. I mean, not only them brothers, we got captains, we got some officers that do the same thing. I mean, so we need fellowship and love the brotherhood that the Most High gives, man. This is how you stay close to God. I mean, you know, understand that we can't fight this battle alone. We need the Most High and His truth. And without it, man, we destroy it. You right?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 6.
Yeah.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 6. Believe in him.
What?
Believe in him.
That's the problem we have in the world, man. We don't believe in the Most High. We don't believe in the things that He said He would do for us. I mean, He said He would do, but half of us don't even know what He got for us. I mean, we don't study the Bible, so we don't know what the Most High wants for us, man. I mean, He wanted the best for us. He's a good Father. He wanted the best for us. That's why He gives us His law. And He only gave it to us. Once again, the law, such commandments are a blessing. This is how you get life. You won't get curses if you keep His law. curses of death, cancer, AIDS, gun violence, all the wicked ways you die in the world, man. I mean, Most High won't kill you if you keep His law. Because this is the only way you love the Most High, is by showing Him that you don't keep His commandments. Yeah.
Believe in Him, and He will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in Him.
Order thy way right, trust in Him. Trust in the Most High. Trust in every word that He said, man. That's all we got. That's definitely the truth. Deuteronomy 30:19.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death.
You need to understand what that is, man. I mean, when you speak this to a brother in the world, man, this demon in him will say, we all got that. So I'm I got you. I mean, not knowing that we all got to die, but we ain't got to all die in a wicked way. We ain't got to die early. We die at a young age now, man. Well, how will you live, man? And live a glorious life, a happy life. I mean, when you will die, you pass away in this sleep. You know what I'm saying? At old age. You know what I mean? Instead of dying behind the trigger of a gun from another brother. Dying because you broke Most High's law. Dying from AIDS and all these diseases that Most High, corona, all these diseases that Most High put on here, man. All these plagues. I mean, wicked ways of dying, man. Most High don't want to kill us like that. But He will kill us like that if we don't pay attention, if we despise His law. Go ahead.
Blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Blessings and curses, man. Again, man. Blessings and curses, man. That's what it's about, man. We curse when we don't pay attention to the law, statutes, and Most High. Law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. We curse when we go against what the Most High gave us and just love the world. The things of the world matter for us, man. We learn the wicked ways of life in the world before we came to the truth. Gotta stay far from that. You know what I mean? Gotta stay clean to the Most High and His law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 20. That thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey His voice.
Thou mayest love the Lord thy God. There's only one way that you love the Most High. And we're going to go to that real fast. Come back and get on the 3rd John. 5:3. A lot of us think that they can just say they love the Most High, and it's all good, and that's what it is. That's not love, according to the Most High. Most High let you know in the Bible everything that He wants done, how to do it.
Right.
And the Bible tells you how to love Him. You know what I mean?
1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep all His commandments. And His commandments are not grievous.
Commandments are not hard. You think it's hard. You think it's hard. You think that because of the Christian church that we can't be perfect, man. I mean, that's a bald-faced lie, man. Powerful Captain said one time, man, when you take a test, there's plenty of brothers that aced that test and got 100. You're perfect at that test. I mean, you can be perfect and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. I mean, it's not hard to be perfect. I mean, to keep His law. That's why He said it. So to love the Most High is to keep His law, statutes, and commandments. Not to say it, not to feel it, but it's an action. keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. First, you have to know his laws, statutes, and commandments. And in order to know, you have to study to show yourself approved to understand his law. So if you're not reading the Bible, you're not in class, you're not studying, you don't know his law. So you can't love the Most High. I'm saying it's lying to yourself, saying you love the Most High. Trying to go back. You want to pray that 19 again?
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Verse 20. That thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him. For that thou mayest cleave unto him.
Only when you cleave the Most High, God, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. Come to class, study to show yourself approved. You know what I'm saying? Not running the streets, chasing the whole life that you live, loving the world, but if you love the Most High, this is how you cleave to him. Go ahead.
That thou's slack. For he is thy life, and the length of thy days.
You know what I'm saying? His laws, statutes, and commandments is the length of days, man. This is how you live a long life. This is how you get a good life. By keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
That thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thee and to thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them.
This is how we're going to come to that kingdom that the Most High promised. Titus 24. And like, we don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, man. We can't teach our kids. We can't teach our wives. You know what I'm saying? Our sisters are the weak link. You know what I'm saying? So they need guidance and they need a leader.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So our men, we got to be the leaders that sisters need, man.
Right.
Everything work together in life, man. You know what I mean? If we don't take charge of our lives, man, and obey the Most High, you know what I mean, we're destroying our whole family.
Right.
This is why the white man can entice our sisters to do wicked things against their husbands like they did in the garden, man. You know what I mean? You gotta understand how to keep a strong family, and it starts with the man. God made the man first, man. So it starts with us, man. We gotta come to this truth. Keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, and be passionate about everything that the Lord wants us to do. Because we are the heads of our family, man. We're the heads of our wives and our kids.
Right.
And so God said, he'll forget your kids, man. I mean, if we don't get our life right, he'll forget it. This is how you get our kids right. We ain't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So we need to understand how this system works, man. And it starts with the man. And we need to teach our wives how to be good wives by us being good husbands. Read.
Titus chapter 2, verse 4. You want to go to 3? Titus chapter 2, verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands. Verse 3. The aged woman likewise. That
This is talking about these mamas, big mamas. You this is how they're supposed to be. And this is the thing they're supposed to teach the younger sisters, man. They're supposed to be women of the Lord. For a reason. And to be able to do the things that the Most High said do. Read.
The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to too much wine, teachers of good things.
This is where Big Mama's supposed to be, right? Not playing a man in the house. You know what I'm saying? Supposed to be the Jesus of the younger system. Supposed to teach the kids how to live. You know what I mean? Teach them that it ain't all about getting high.
Right.
But it's about doing what the Most High said do. I mean, this is why they should all be drinking too much wine. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be on the weekend, Saturday, partying and clubbing up every night. We're supposed to be serving the Lord on the Sabbath day. You know what I mean? And being very cautious of what we do in the world, man. Not getting high, not drinking, not being drunk. You know what I mean? Out of our big mamas, what we call big mamas, we in a church with big hats. You know what I mean? Thinking they holy as a thou, but yet they ain't doing nothing about what they do. They ain't keeping none of the law, statutes, and commandments. They ain't showing the sisters the way. I mean, out of our big mamas, we the first one to tell our sisters to abort their babies. You know what I'm saying? Your own mother will tell you, you ain't having that baby. You know what I mean? Because she don't know the law, statutes, and commandments, so she thinks that's a curse for you to be pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So she tell you to abort that baby. You know what I'm saying? So plenty of people got put out their home because, I mean, they wanted to keep that baby. You know what I mean? But the parents tell them to abort that baby. You know what I mean? Have abortion. It's a wicked thing. I mean, let you know our parents, man. Ain't right about everything they say. Big Mama don't know everything. I mean, Big Mama don't. She ain't cleaving to her husband. Her husband cleaving to the Most High to know these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
It starts with the man, man. Really teach our family, man. Stay strong in this truth and show our wives and kids how to live.
Right.
Go ahead. Read the top.
Titus chapter 2, verse 3. The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to too much wine, teachers of good things. Verse 14, slocky. Verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
Our big mamas out there, mothers out there, not teaching their women to love their husbands, and teaching them to be sober. You know what I'm saying? They're partying with their children, and allowing their children to get high. Teaching them to, you know what I mean, at the weekend, at the party time, to, if we ain't got money, don't stick with it, girl. You know what I'm saying? They going against the law, statutes, and commandments, not even knowing it. You know what I mean? Because first of all, the heads ain't teaching them how to be women of the Most High. We need to take charge and learn these law, statutes, and commandments to a team so we can get the blessings. This is why we're cursed in the world right now, man.
Right.
Amen. You read?
Verse 5, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands.
To their own husbands. You know what I'm saying? A woman is only allowed to have one husband, man. She ain't allowed to stick around and have 4 or 5 different men, man. I mean, she ain't allowed to leave her husband for any reason, man. Only what happens is if he dies. That's according to the Bible, man. That's how the Most High wrote. There's no such thing as divorce. So you need to start teaching your kids. If he ain't got no money, he ain't got no good job, leave him and get another one. I mean, teach your man, teach your daughter the way of Christ. I mean, to stay with your husband, man. Right. I mean, to be that pillar of truth to your husband. This is what the Bible teaches us, man. We need to leave the world alone and stick close to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Right.
These are the demons that's controlling us to make us go against these law, statutes, and commandments. You need to realize that demons are real. The only way you're going to fight them is by keeping close to this Bible, right. The words of the Most High. With that, today's last school, the Universal Prep, now is coming out of 1 West 125th Street, New York. I'm the commander general, Your Honor. Here to bring the truth to the vast family of the enemy. Halloween ain't real, but demons are. We need to learn how to fight, man. With that, shalom, Israel. I'm trying to pass over the piece of pride, tell us by security now.
Security announcements. We at Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits. They are off limits for 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They have to share themselves to the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi 3, verse 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew, and it's pronounced Mayasha. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations. Still be on the look out for the Passover. Stay in contact with the captains of your city. You understand? Our next feast is the Feast of Dedication, or Hanukkah. That's Wednesday, December 9th of this 2020. You can find out about this in 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 through 61. You understand? You find Akim and Nakwaki to check on social media such as Isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for Isupk events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he has to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. With that, we're going to give a one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, Mahdi. Mahdi, Rock.
How about Shirah Shabrak?
How about Shirah Shabrak?
Class dismissed.